Legendary drops and base palworld dev call out the game industry. Finally, some actual voice, not just a echo chamber. Let's get it.
Absolutely based crossover here. We got legendary drops and Bucky from palworld, and they're mocking the gaming journalists, calling out the corpos. We got legendary drops talking about the critic scores over on Metacritic, writing 13 reviews for palworld after a month, 57 for Beast of Reincarnation after 2 days, 51 for Halo. Really shows where their loyalty lies. I get that it's a long game, but y'all are washed. Y'all are washed. For those that don't know where the critic score on Metacritic comes from, it's basically like a not amalgamation, but you could say that. It's like an aggregation of what they call their like curated sources, which includes their this is so funny, quote unquote, like reputable outlets and reputable journalists, because gaming journalists and reputable, that's definitely not an oxymoron. And that's when head of publishing and communications for palworld, Bucky, responds, and he says to legendary drops, I mean, to be fair, we didn't send out press keys in advance, and for sure the other games did. We weren't really thinking about critic reception at all, and we wanted the content of 1.0 to remain a secret and unspoiled right up to the release. So we kept it all pretty close to our chest. If we had gone the more traditional route and prioritized critic reception, which is a very valid to market a game in some cases, then we probably would have sent out press keys a month or so in advance. palworld 1.0 was very much for the fans, not for the industry based. Just a different case is all. It's also like a game that requires a fairly significant time investment, so I can't fault media for not wanting to put the time in post-release. No harm. I was being a little bit too nice there, though. Maybe we'll try play the press/media game a bit more in the future with Pal Farm or something. Don't.
No.
Why would you do that? It's honestly a side of the industry we aren't too experienced in.
Oh my gosh, you know what? Absolute base take from the dev. Because, like, here's the thing. At this point, nobody ever cares what the Metacritic or what the games journalist would think, because at this point they're pretty much like irrelevant. Nobody cares what score they give the game, because like games journalists are so out of touch that, like, even playing the game and complain about like how long the gameplay is and less cutscenes, they're not meant to play games. And then they have the audacity to call themselves games journalists. And you know what? Like, another massive W for the palworld dev to focus on the game itself than just play the traditional route of, you know, like pleasing the games journalists, critics. Like, you know what? Nobody cares. Even I, or probably the majority of like Gen Z, Gen A, and like basically like young people who plays games, nobody even care about the Metacritic score or basically like journalist score, because if, like, here's the thing, like, for us, if the game is popular on every social media, especially on TikTok or YouTube, that, you know, that blew up, or especially for Twitter or any other social media, if the game blew up in popularity and a lot of players are recommending playing this game because it's fun, and, you know, like people are gonna hop in on that trend, and, you know, making that game more successful, the game developer is getting successful, all dubs all around. With that's pretty much our metric of how fun the game is, based on like the popularity of the game on any social media. And like, to be honest, like, I guess like there are some people who read the games journalist articles and what they're about to say, because like not everyone's gonna read games articles. No one, or no, not no one. Like, there's some, but it will be like the minority of the gamers, minority of the players, because the majority, if they see a game that they like, or when they see a game in their algo to their timeline or whatever, and it's fun, they'll just play it. And then if they play it and they have like a good time, good user experience, they will just go to Steam and just drop their drop their feedbacks, and also like the recommended and or not recommended. It depends on them. Follow what the audience want, the player base want, not the games journalists, because they are so out of touch, and basically them giving a score or a Metacritic score doesn't really matter at all, because like for what the games journalist score will be the opposite of what the audience or the player base would score. Basically basically on a scale, if the player base scores low and the games critics will score high, that's pretty much it. It's pretty much like the opposites,
I just love the opening to this too, though. Like my favorite parts here is when he's like, yeah, we didn't even send press keys out to them. That's funny. And then saying, again, palworld 1.0 is for the fans, not for the industry. Like I said, that's based. But hopefully he doesn't start, or hopefully they don't start, like trying to get more involved with the gaming journalists out there. That would be a bad move. Legendary drops comments as well, saying, well, obviously by the outcome, you guys chose the right crowd to prioritize. Exactly.
Nice.
Great work all around. Not many games can get 300 hours out of me. And Bucky says, much appreciated, with a handshake. Let's check out these two responses, and then I want to go back to Metacritic. I saw some hilarious reviews I just want to laugh at the end real quick, but check these out first. Thank God we have developers like you guys who seemingly don't care about the press. I know you weren't thrashing them or trashing them, but I will. Game journos are a cancer, and how they do / do not feel about your game is irrelevant, as palworld proves. The sooner we can let that industry die, the better. Then we got this one. It says, quote, maybe we'll try and play the press / media game a bit more in the future with Pal Farm or something. That part of the tweet that we read from Bucky. This guy saying, please don't. These people will only play ball with you if they're able to insert themselves within your studio and destroy you from the inside with their vile subversions. They are a cult, and they do not want you to succeed. The further you distance yourselves from them, the better your product will remain, and the more us fans will praise you for it. Not colluding with these subversives is the advertising. It shows to the gamers you're working for them, not cog in the struggle session machine. And that takes us back over to Metacritic and the two reviews that I mentioned that I thought were pretty hilarious. These are actually two user reviews. First one giving palworld a 0, saying, stolen designs, stolen ideas, and everything is buggy, unoriginal husk. Then they're all cussing and saying, very disappointing.
Pokemon fan. I don't know.
And then this guy gives palworld a 1, and this guy's definitely not Yami Yugi. He says, this is so funny, bro. Cruelty of every imaginable kind of animal. Wait, cruelty of every imaginable kind to animals with no little to no meaningful consequences for it. Too grind heavy halfway through the game, bored after 7 to 8 hours, and disgusted by what the game expects you to be okay with participating in.
Bro, is this a PETA member or a pet? Yeah, the PETA member. Holy shit. Bro doesn't know what a... Wait, too grind heavy halfway through the game? You know what? Try playing Pokemon. See how it is.
Was this made by PETA or something? Like, what are you even talking about? Animals? There's not even animals in the game. They're pals. And like, that's part of the joke. It is a little messed up. Some of it's actually really messed up. I'm not going to lie. Like the whole butcher knife thing and all that. But
whoa.
I mean, it's a silly game. These are not real. Like, what are you talking about? By the way, yeah, I noticed that I actually, misspoke reading this a little bit a couple times. My bad. I'm not going to re-record it, though. That would just take away the humor.
Nah.
I'm going to, have to react to it again. No, we're not going to do that. So I'll leave it there. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you guys have a lovely weekend.
Oh.
And I'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, great video from Hey the Goat. Yeah, you know what? Just... I want that part of the game industry, especially for... critics to just die. Basically just, cease to exist. because at this point, like, nobody even cares about what they're gonna say. All right, like, all right, I have to go back a little bit of a backtrack. Just that part of games journalists where they pretty much like every game studios or every game dev that they need to pander to them, because if they don't, they will get a low score, and the fear uh of getting your audience or your player base to be disgusted because, like, holy shit, the score is low, so basically there's a problem with your game, and there's something that probably we don't like, or there's something that it'll be a bad experience. But no, like, they have been running this shit for too long, and especially for them being so out of touch of actually playing video games. Like, they don't know how to play video games, they just know how to write their slop and just go rage baiting people to read their articles. That's it, plain and simple. Like, they're not even gamers. Like, they're just larping as gamers. Like, they larp to know how to play video games. And you know what, they like, that part of the industry needs to cease to exist, because nobody even cares about Metacritics anymore. I mean, for some, like, especially for the old generation, that, oh yeah, like, they are the experts, so we must listen to the experts. But in the case of the majority, nobody even cares, especially for us. We just pretty much base on user experience, based on like what other people are talking about it. It's like they're talking about, this game is good, this game is fun. If it's not, then this game is not fun, more grindy than usual. It is what it is. Like, for what the feeling of the general consensus of what they feel about the game, that's the review, that's the score. Like, if they give your game a 10 out of 10, that's good, as long as the review came from the actual player within the player base or within the community, because they know what they know, like, oh yeah, this part of the game mechanic is fun, maybe do a little bit of tweaking, do a little bit of an adjustment, and then we be balling. Yep, because the quality of feedback is absolutely the players and not the game's journalists or critics. So so like, games journalists and critics, they need to go extinct, because that part is irrelevant. Nobody cares for them anymore. Suck it.